Grand rising, everyone. I'm trying something new now. Them say mustn't say good morning because good morning means morning. And we ain't morning, right? We're happy. So grand rising, my peeps. Welcome to Jamaica 411. Thank you so much for stopping by, keeping me company as usual. If you're here with me for the first time, welcome, welcome. Please subscribe, share the video, give the video a thumbs up, as well as feel free to leave your comments in the comments section. To my subscribers and regular viewers, welcome back. Always so nice to see you in the comment section. You see, as me done upload the video, the first thing I do, I will start watch the video. I want to see the views I'm turning over, but the first thing always coming is a comment. I'm gonna people and say who comment first. Yes, man, and them things I'm go on with. Hey, anyhow, you know the ropes, right? You're going to give the video a thumbs up from now on. And then I would appreciate if all of you would go and share with even one person. I mean, if 10,000 of you are watching, it's one person, that's 20,000 people getting notification somehow or the other. It will get around until, our message is getting out. And of course, don't forget that when they come and watch, they will also read the comments. They particularly read the comments to hear what people think about what it is that I'm saying. So they will hear your points of view. No, man, nobody thinks that you're not popular too, you're popular too. So go ahead and do all of that. And if you're done sharing, please remember to return and then join me. And of course, I thank you in advance. Okay, now that you're back, let's get down to business. So, what am I bringing you today? Our favorite talk show host is Blunderboss. Yes, man, Cliff Hughes. Yes, we went to the same school too, Yes, man, in Bright too. But sometimes, in kind of tricky. Nah, Cliff Hughes is Cliff Hughes. I'm going to tell you something about Nationwide News Network that I have found. You see, when it comes to the news, they are faithful to the news that I know about that they carry. They are faithful to the facts. They carry the facts of the news without their opinion. It is afterwards now when they start to, in the radio talk shows, they're going to express their opinions. And that is when now people might say that they're leaning towards the Labour Party. When they now agree with the Labour Party, then cost them to, Yes, man, they will cost them too. Anyway, today now we're going to be playing comments from Cliff Hughes yesterday. He was criticizing, or he was making commentary on some comments that was said on the PNP's platform in East Portland. You can see the shock, right? When you hear him speaking, you can see the shock because this is not something that he's used to. Certainly not in modern times. We have not seen this kind of thing going on where somebody is being put forward, somebody with a criminal conviction. I mean, we have problem enough with those people who not go to prison yet, or so-called law-abiding citizen, much less to go take up somebody who consciously, on 2 occasions, was caught. I think the charge was drug trafficking, cocaine at that, right? And that is a person that the PNP think that is best to run in a constituency to put in the parliament to make laws for the rest of us. So let us hear what Blunderboss had to say. Yes, Cliff, we love you, right? Yes, let's hear what Blunderboss had to say, and then I'll come back with my own few words. So let's listen.
Over the weekend, the political parties continue their activities. The Comrades were in Portland, in East Portland. Yeah, and if you're on our YouTube platform, Nationwide 90 FM Live, you'll see some of the scenes there from the Comrades. They were in East Portland to present Isaac Buchanan that was Saturday evening, I think it was, Saturday evening, yes. Isaac Buchanan will be the PNP's prospective candidate, when nominations begin for the next general elections. He'll be up against Anne-Marie Vaz, yes, and that is going to be closely watched for several reasons, of course. Isaac Buchanan, a controversial former ex-criminal who served time twice in prisons for running cocaine, drugs. He's going to be on the ticket. Yes. Have we ever had in Jamaica a man, ex-man, convicted for drug running on a parliamentary slate? They're running for parliament. Have we ever had that? You can tell me. Yeah? But we live in a new world, you know. A new world where you're a committed criminal, convicted criminal, and that does not stop you from being elected in a decisive way to the most powerful political office on earth, that of President of the United States of America. So, will that be an issue here for Mr. Buchanan and the people of East Portland? I don't know. It's a new world where I know nothing, him doing time. Yeah? So what? Yeah? And the PNP president, in presenting Mr. Buchanan, yeah, says he's getting ready to challenge Anne-Marie Vaz for the seat. Here's a clip from the PNP president, number 5, Kevin.
Everybody entertain. When I shot say yeah, him ready. I'm telling them to say yeah, they will work with him. And all of them that come into the place say yeah, they will work with him too. They say yeah, got you I shot. Your time now, time come. I want back our children today. Here is San Portland.
Mark Golding, yes. In reference to Buchanan's criminal history, he defended him with quotes from the Bible. He described Buchanan as righteous and wise and praised him for his role in getting the court to release dancehall star Vybz Kartel from prison.
Jesus said, who without sin cast the first stone? And none of them are without sin, a bare sinner. So them can't tell me nothing. It's a righteous youth. It's a youth with wisdom and understanding. It's a youth who carry a big case to the privy council and mash it up so certain man could come and roll. I mean, so that man that will never forget the service that this man gave. Set him free.
Yeah, good night, Gaza Nation. Our pressing message for more people understand. Whether you go represent for Isaac Buchanan as a bridge, I know my running in politics thing and a lot of people take it out of proportion along political divide. And we understand that this is Jamaica. You know what I mean? A politically harsh environment. But remember this, Vybz Kartel, first and foremost, my allegiance is to the people of Jamaica. Whether you're PNP, whether you're Labourite, Vybz Kartel allegiance is to the people of Jamaica. Because Jamaica make me rich. You understand? Yes. And me and Isaac good, me and Daryl Vaz good. Me no know him wife, but she look like a cool lady to me. You know what I mean? So, big up Miss Vaz and thing, yeah. So, the point I try to make is this. Don't get the thing twisted. Me's an artist first and a businessman next. And Isaac is a friend of mine. Daryl Vaz is a friend of mine. Because I know him for years. Matter of fact, I know him from like 2008, 2009. You know what I mean? So, don't get the thing twisted. I want Jamaica, me say. Because if I go over there, so the youth, them are going to lift me up. And if I go over here, so the youth, them are going to lift me up. Why if he lift me up? But you don't know what I mean. Don't?
I mean, so that man that will never forget the service that this man gave. Set him free.
Did you hear that? So, the PNP president going all in. Yeah, in defending the proposed candidacy of Mr. Buchanan. I gather this is causing some amount of discord in the PNP, you know. It has been pointed out to me that some people in the party hierarchy are uncomfortable, very uncomfortable, because what it does is to make them very vulnerable on the issue, the very potent public issue of crime Yes? Crime and law and order. But is this where we are now? Yeah? The opposition leader defending, yeah, the proposed candidacy of a former criminal convict. But as I said, it's a new world. Certain values that we grew up with are being thrown to the side. Yeah? This could not happen in Jamaica years ago. That the PNP or GLP would nominate. And I'm trying to tell me, yes? Cleve Lewis, there I hear the PNP saying, Cleve Lewis, yeah? Went to prison and he was re-elected in the 50s, 60s, yes? Yeah. Jack Smith, no. Jack Smith had to leave politics after he was found guilty of fraudulently using farm workers' money. But for a crime of running drugs, is that acceptable now? You tell me. Yeah?
I mean, so that man that will never forget the service when this man gave set him free.
So, wait a little bit. What the Englishman say? Wanna hear what the Englishman say? You sure say you're here right? I don't know if me I hear right. Hold on then. The Englishman say, and me know say, the man there will never forget the service where this man gave him to set him free. Who him a call? The man there. Is who this little bad color? I don't know what you call a sick man, but this man I write it. Me telling us that there's something wrong with the man, you know. And I don't know if you no believe. I know some believe because you no see the evidence. It suits him to stick to the language of his parents and don't try to talk patois because he don't understand the language. Right? Is who this little puppy show traitor a call the man there. Yes, he may have been convicted of a crime. But how you mean if you call a big man the man there? And me know, said the man there will never forget the service where this man gave him. Let me ask you a question. Mr. Vibes Cartel, uno send this go give Vibes for me. Uno know him? Somebody send this go give Vibes. Me want to ask him a question. Right? I never know so cheap. Did he pay Isaac Buchanan for the service that he gave him of setting him free? I never know it was a pro bono case. Well, maybe, because he was in jail and maybe music and going with nothing, or maybe the royalties were not being paid over. So me can understand if him ask the young fellow to do the case pro bono. Even more. The fact that this would, make the young fellow's name, make Isaac Buchanan's name to say I represent Vibes Cartel. It is only reasonable, Vibesy, if you ask him to do it free of cost in exchange for the popularity you're going to give him by making him your lawyer. Not true? So him do the case for you free. Don't make you never tell with that. No, we understand the reason why your PP clock behind him, Vibesy. Your PP clock behind Isaac Buchanan. And I try to help him out because he want a seat. Right? So you're going to help him out. It's because you owe him a debt. Yes, him do this thing for you free, apparently. And so now you feel an obligation to him, perhaps for the rest of his or your natural life. Now let this be a lesson to you now, Vibesy. Never make a man do a favor for you if you can't pay for it, because you will never done pay. Right? If you had paid Isaac Buchanan for his service, Mark Golding couldn't sign these things. Cup of place upon the screen. I call himself opposition leader. Right? Want to turn the PNP in a criminal organization. With all sorts of different smaddy in it. So what him hoping to do now? Him hoping that when him ingratiate himself with you, because even though you're clearly distancing yourself from the party politics, him a look for draw you in it, for tell the people in Portland, never mind what you say. They don't listen to what you say. You owe Isaac Buchanan an obligation. And you will never forget that obligation to him to set you free. I want like a dirty minded man this, you know. The man is dirty minded, you know. And when we tell people saying worse than Peter Bunting, then think it's joke. I mean, it's hard to be worse than Peter Bunting, so you must know Satan real bad. And me know say the man there will never forget the service where this man gave him. And then when this man take the stage, man, him put on a piece of preaching, a pastor, me call him now, yeah, man. Pastor Isaac Buchanan, yes, man, missing calling, good lawyer, and evidently a preacher in the making. Call on upon God, I wonder if him understand that people in general, don't like when people bring God to them. Yes, I don't mind you say you believe in God and those things. But you see, with there being 45,000 denominations, and every one of them think that them are the right one and the only one, them no want to hear nobody else from no other denomination. I preach to them. That's why it never work. But it's your thing. If you think it'll work for you, you can try it. But I've never seen it work in history. But I don't know, maybe you have a very different opinion about these things. The next thing is, he went and he spoke about, well, not him really, Blunderboss did, that the hierarchy in the PNP is not very happy. I was looking and looking and looking. I don't see no MP. Was an MP there? You see Natalie Nita there? Me never see her. Look for Angela Brown-Burke, the chairman of the party. You did see her? Me never see her. If anybody said she was there, and you can let me know in the comment section. Tony Hilton, who is also a riser. You see him? Me never see him. Did anybody say Bunting? Me never see him either. So, of course, they went drawing for history. And they came up with the name Cleve Lewis as the first person since universal adult suffrage and the only person with a criminal conviction who was put before the people and the people voted for him 3 times. Yes, I have the history. So let's take a little trip down memory lane to see what that was about. So the first article I found was an article by Mr. Balfour Henry. And this was in July 26, 1988. This article was written. And it was about Mr. Neville Lewis. Now, Mr. Neville Lewis happens to be the son of Cleve Lewis. Cleve Lewis's correct name was Neville Cleve Lewis. And Neville Lewis was his son. And Cleve Lewis was the MP for Northwest St. Elizabeth. And it was showing the history. Balfour was showing the history. And his history began in 1962, showing what the seats were. And, that Cleveland won the seat 3 times. In 1962, in 1967, and in 1972. He never run back in 76. But his son, Neville Lewis, ran in the seat and won it on the JLP ticket. And the senior Lewis is also, or was also, a JLP candidate for a part of the time. Now we're going to go back now to see what is the history, if we can find such history, of Mr. Cleve Lewis. So having searched, I found this gem. It says Buster Cleve Lewis not wanted back in Labour Party. And this was dated, this article, September 1, 1952. So let me read what it says. Denial that Mr. Cleve Lewis, ex-MHR, I have no idea what that was, but certainly in 1938 he was described as the Chief Sanitary Inspector for St. Elizabeth. So that was his job. I don't know what this MHR means, but let me continue. So it says, ex-MHR, now serving a prison sentence for fraud in connection with farm workers' tickets, will be backed by the Jamaica Labour Party in the next elections, was made by the Honourable Alexander Bustamante, JLP leader, on Saturday on the eve of his departure for Britain, to represent the island in economic discussions. Report that the JLP was leaving the North St. Elizabeth berth open for the one-time MHR was made in the weekend press. So the weekend press said that, we noticed that I'm not a candidate slated for North St. Elizabeth. Maybe that was what it was at the time. And them speculating that maybe them leaving it open for Mr. Lewis. So anyway, it is untrue, said Bustamante. The party has no intention or no desire ever again to support Mr. Cleve Lewis and will never do so as long as I am the head. In fact, Mr. Cleve Lewis is no longer a member of the Jamaica Labour Party. Then it says, in connection with the Malcolm case, Malcolm apparently was an MP, and evidently he too was implicated in the illegal selling of farmer tickets. Mr. Bustamante said, my desire and intention, if the Constitution allows the House to vote Mr. Malcolm out of the House, is to have this done. So saith the big man in 1952, September 1. And we are going to continue by fast forwarding a little further on in history to hear what happened next. So for this next historic tidbit, we turn to Mr. Gordon Robinson, and this article was dated 2012, July 8. And he's going to give us another perspective on what happened in the 50s and 60s with Mr. Cleve Lewis. And of course, another little gem with Mass Buster. Yes, man. All right. So it says that Cleve Lewis incident. As Prime Minister, Buster decided to appoint Cleve Lewis Minister of Communications and Works. Cleve wasn't a popular choice. A whole-scale cabinet mutiny ensued, with many insisting in private discussions that they wouldn't sit in the same cabinet with Cleve Lewis. Not in my cabinet. They were summoned to Buster's home. Before they arrived, Buster instructed Miss Longbridge to prepare 2 rooms. One was to be a meeting room with notepads and pens for each person, while the other had only a bottle of champagne on the ice at the center of the table. The cabinet members gathered amid much grumbling and a generally expressed intention to defy Buster. Only one cabinet member dissented, and that was Edward Seaga, who reminded his colleagues that cabinet appointment was the Prime Minister's sole prerogative. He was ignored. Eventually, a casually dressed Buster swept into the group of ministers and ushered them to the first meeting room, where he greeted them with words like these: "Gentlemen, I intend to appoint Cleve Lewis as my Minister of Communications and Works. I understand some of you do not approve. Any who don't want to be in a cabinet with Mr. Lewis, paper and pen is provided for you to write your resignations. Those willing to accept Mr. Lewis can join me in the other room for a celebratory drink of champagne." Not a man moved towards the paper. You see it? No principle at all. Typical. You see, nothing has changed, Nothing has changed. I keep telling you guys, right, that we are our ancestors, and whatever they are, so are we. So if we want to know who and what they were, we just have to look within ourselves and around us, right? Them, on a matter of principle, never intended to sit in no cabinet with no Cleve Lewis. Well, Buster, tell them how the thing go, and tell them, say you don't agree, write a resignation. Of course, nobody never want to do that. I mean, common sense would tell them, say they should have write it, because then Buster go put in a cabinet. Anyway, that was what happened. So let me read something else for you know that them say Buster did. So Gordon Robinson tells us another story. He said the second story surrounds the purchase, in quotation, of Up Park Camp from England. Under colonial law, Up Park Camp was English territory, similar to embassy properties. You didn't know that? Me never know that. Boy, may I tell you this, man. We were obliged to buy it. Lengthy negotiations ensued through the foreign ministry, but, as always, the chief had the last word, which is Buster. So, when the British terminated negotiations, our foreign minister went to Buster with Her Majesty's final offer. Buster considered this for a brief moment, then delivered himself of the following gem. Tell her for me that we can't afford that kind of money. So when she is leaving, she must take it with her. I Buster tell the Queen for do. Buster say, them decide them on a price. So Buster say, can't afford. So Buster say, look, we can't afford them that kind of money. So when she leaving, she have take it with her. Of course, the Queen can't take it with her. So obviously it look like so we get it free or we get it for the knockdown price of Buster wanted. That man must have been something else. Anyhow, let us go to one final article about Mass Cleve. So it says here, this was written January 8, 1965. This is after he was appointed, but I'm not quite sure when he was appointed, trying to get that. But let me see if we can find out in this particular article. Lewis appointment. Yes, it was in 65 then. In a recent article written by Thomas Wright in his column, he said, however admirable the Prime Minister may be, Jamaica must not allow the government to become Alexander's ragtime band. Alexander's ragtime band. I Buster them are talking, because his name Alexander Bustamante. It would appear as though Thomas Wright had anticipated correctly what was in the mind of the Prime Minister, because in spite of what is going on in the country today, all sorts of talks about hooliganism and the maintenance of law and order and the eradication of dishonesty, no decent person could expect that the Prime Minister would appoint to be a Minister of State in the government a person who served a prison sentence for fraud. Now, you see it? Same argument we're having today. That's the argument that they were having. I noticed the Prime Minister criticizing the editor of your Daily Gleaner on Wednesday, 30th of December, for letting the public know that Mr. Cleve Lewis was sentenced to prison for 12 months for the selling of farm workers' tickets. I noticed also that Sir Alexander made reference to the Gleaner employing someone who has a dark spot in his life too. But it would strike me as if that point is completely irrelevant in view of the fact that the Gleaner Company is a private company while the Ministry of Communication and Works is public property. Same tactics we use these days. Same tactics, you know. They want to put Isaac Buchanan, they're going to refer to the Cleveland Lewis point that is the first time it happened, and if it happened then nothing. And I hear that Dayton supposedly says something about if Vaz can in a parliament, so can anybody else. Did you hear him say anything like that? I never make a note in the comment section, because I never actually remember to listen to him, right? And remember also in 1965 that Norman Manley was the opposition leader for the PNP, right? So this person went on to say, it's a letter to the editor, right? Sir Alexander further mentioned that he received many telegrams of congratulations from all parts of the country inclusive of churches commending him for making Mr. Lewis a minister. Same strategy, nothing changed. It would appear as if these are the people who would like to see the government reduced to the status of Alexander's ragtag band. Now that Mr. Lewis is appointed Minister of Communication and Works, I hope that the Minister of Home Affairs is now paving the way to make it possible for all ex-police, civil servants, and teachers who have been convicted in the past to regain employment with government. Of course, they are citizens of Jamaica with equal rights as Mr. Cleve Lewis. And guess who wrote this? I am etc. H.D. Allman, Area Supervisor, National Workers Union. What has changed? What has changed? So Buster went ahead and appointed Mr. Gentleman in 1965. Now, there was a history to this. Apparently, when Cleveland Lewis got out of jail, remember now he was no longer a member of the JLP, he did run again in the election, but as independent, and was beaten 2 times, I think, by E.V. Allen. Is that E.V. Allen? Is that Edwin Allen? Perhaps. And then by 1962, he and Buster patch up things. So that's the story of Mr. Cleve Lewis. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Great. But before I close this video, I have one more remark to make. And I find this very disturbing. Disturbing, yes. In Mark Golding, of all persons, you know, the Englishman, the one that prims up in our parliament illegally, same one. He has been taken to quoting scriptures. For me, quoting the Old Testament is one thing, because the Old Testament is really the Torah in the Jewish, for them, version of the Bible, right? But this man's father, John Golding, Dr. John Golding, is buried at the Jewish cemetery on Slipe Road, I believe. He's a Jew, Ashkenazi Jew. His great-grandfather, Joseph Golding was his original name when he changed the name to Golding. He was a Lithuanian Jew, and his wife too, apparently. And it's from their history, right? On his mother's side, all of them are Jew. Them name Levi, them name Cohen, them name, as a matter of fact, it's several Levis, right? I guess a different branch of the people, the family, sounding as if these persons are what they call in the Jewish Torah Levites, right? So he may not be a believer in any of what it is that he's saying, as well as not being a Jew. But that is Judaism as a religion. But in terms of the person that he is, as far as we understand, he's an Ashkenazi German, ethnic German, and they are calling themselves Jews. So when he's coming to quote the Bible, it is part of and parcel of his fool of politics, right? To make the comrades then believe that he's what? A Christian? He's not a Christian. He's not a Christian. And I just want the comrades them to know that, right? The man is no Christian. When he's quoting from the Bible, I tell you about Jesus, and I go on with him in Rasta talk and all them kind of thing. He's neither a Christian, nor is he a Rasta. And he's not even a pretend Rasta. He's an Englishman. When you hear him in a parliament talking, I saw him talk to him friend them. But when him out on the political hustings, him go on like say, him and you are one. Well, if you think so, you and him are one, here what you going to do? You see, the next time you see him out on the road in him cap, make sure it says under the 11 o'clock sun hat, you know. Tell him to take off the cap and then engage him in an argument for about 15 or 20 minutes and see if him now hurry up and done the argument, right? Them the people, their skin can't take sun unless them have a sunblock. Them skin can't take sun for more than about 10 minutes before they start cook like somebody fling hot water upon them, right? And then when you see him start to be uncomfortable and fidgeting at the sun, then you will know whether you and him are one. Anyway, I hope you found the information provided, especially about Cleve Lewis. You would have heard about him from Hughes and others. So I hope you found this very interesting. And the reason why I brought it up, of course, is that Lewis, yes, it was the first time that anybody who went to prison was ever presented to the Jamaican people and they elected him. But remember, prior to him being presented to the people by the JLP, he had ran as an independent twice and lost, almost winning in the last instance in 1959. Anyway, that's it for us today. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for sharing, liking, subscribing, as well as leaving your comments. So until next time, you take good care of yourself. You're here and walk good.
Study the hypocrite them. Just to say, who without sin cast the first stone? And none of them are without sin. A bare sinner. So them can't tell me nothing. It's a righteous youth. It's a youth with wisdom and understanding. It's a youth who carry a big case to the Privy Council and mash it up so certain man could come a road. And you know, so that man that will never forget the service when this man